Welcome back to Real Italian Cooking. Today we're going to prepare something truly delicious but still very easy to make at home. A dish that combines the simplicity of pasta with the rich, irresistible flavor of seafood. We're talking about spaghetti with king prawns, a recipe that looks impressive, tastes amazing, and yet is simple enough for anyone to cook. So grab your ingredients, follow along, and let's dive into this flavorful Italian classic. For this recipe, we'll be cooking for 3 people. Here's what you'll need: 250 grams of spaghetti, a couple of cloves of garlic, some fresh parsley, though dried works too, a little bit of tomato puree, Argentinian frozen king prawns, at least 2 per person, and of course, some olive oil. Let's start by placing a large pot with about 5 liters of water on the stove and wait for it to come to a boil. Before cooking, we need to prepare the king prawns. First, let them thaw completely. Then, one by one, remove the intestinal vein to avoid that unpleasant sandy texture when eating. I like to use kitchen scissors to make a small cut and gently pull it out. I also trim off the whiskers and the legs, because I don't like having them floating around in the sauce. This way the prawns will be clean, neat, and ready to give their best flavor to our dish. It's a bit of a long job, but it's important to take your time and do it properly. I'm not a professional chef, I'm just a simple Italian mom cooking for her family. I do this every day, and I do it with love, because that's what truly makes a dish special. Once we've finished cleaning the king prawns, we need to give them a good rinse under running water. After that, they'll be perfectly ready to go into the pan and start cooking. The steps to prepare the sauce for your spaghetti are really simple. Cooking pasta with me will feel like a piece of cake. If you're enjoying this recipe, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and make sure to turn on the little bell so you won't miss any of the delicious dishes we'll be making together. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. Will you try this recipe? And is it easy for you to find these ingredients where you live? Now follow along as we add the ingredients one at a time into the pan. First, pour in a generous amount of oil. Then add the king prawns, followed by a couple of whole garlic cloves. This way you can easily remove them later. Next, stir in a little tomato puree to give the dish more color and flavor. Finally, finish with a generous sprinkle of parsley, a wonderful aromatic herb that pairs perfectly with seafood and has a freshness quite similar to coriander. The pasta water needs to be salted properly. I suggest adding about half a handful of salt once the water is boiling, then taste the pasta while it's cooking to check the flavor. If you feel it needs a little more, you can adjust and add some extra. Here's a little trick to get all the flavor from the king prawns. Once they're cooked, you can gently press their heads, and a rich, flavorful liquid will come out, adding extra depth to your sauce. In this tutorial, I didn't do that, but you could add a couple more prawns for this purpose. At this point, you could remove them from the sauce, let them cool, and then chop the meat into small pieces to mix back in, giving your dish even more texture and taste. The water is boiling, so now we can add our spaghetti, which comes from an Italian pasta factory. Once you add the pasta to the boiling water and it starts to cook again, pay close attention to the cooking time recommended on the package. This ensures your spaghetti comes out perfectly al dente. Choose pasta made from wheat that's free of pesticides and has been dried slowly. You can tell by the color. If it's too bright yellow, it's usually lower quality. Look for a slightly rough texture because that helps the sauce cling perfectly to each strand. Have you tasted both the pasta and the sauce to see if the salt is just right? Do you feel the sauce is a bit light? You can add a little more oil if needed, but make sure to cook it a bit so it blends with the flavors. Otherwise, it will taste raw. Taste the pasta to make sure it's perfectly cooked. Once it is, drain it and return it to the pot, ready to be combined with its sauce, a beautiful medley of king prawns and rich, flavorful sauce. Plate this wonderful dish with all its seaside aromas. It will be delicious and sure to make everyone happy. On this rainy autumn day from my hometown in Italy, I wish you a lovely day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next videos.